What is the funniest way you have ever watched regular people beat a greedy rule made just to take their money? My gym used to be a calm, friendly place until a new manager decided that breathing near a dumbbell should cost extra. His name was Mr. Royce, and he wore a headset all day even though the phone never rang for him. On a Monday morning, he taped a fresh sign to every mirror in the building. I read it twice and walked to the front desk. The sign said that members could no longer train with any coach they had not paid the gym for directly. Mr. Royce, my friend shows me how to lift sometimes. Is that really a problem? Your friend is stealing from me. Every free tip she gives you is a paid session you should be buying from my staff, but she does not charge me a thing. That is the worst part. People never value help they get for free. My trainers cost $90 an hour, and honestly, that price is a gift. So that became the rule. No member could bring in an outside trainer. Funny enough, my best friend Lena coached a college strength team for years before she ever moved to our town. The next morning, she strolled in wearing plain gym clothes and started doing squats right beside me. Lena, you are not allowed to coach members anymore. Coach? We are two best friends working out together. Is it against the rules now to have a best friend? Mr. Royce had no answer to that, so Lena finished her whole session in peace. By that afternoon, half the gym had suddenly discovered that they too owned a very knowledgeable best friend. Omar showed up with a buddy who used to work as a physical therapist. Tessa brought a childhood friend who happened to compete in powerlifting. A new sign appeared by lunch. It announced that only paying members were allowed on the gym floor. Lena walked straight up to the desk and bought a full membership. I would love to pay you $90 a month to join this wonderful gym. Why are you grinning at me like that? Because a member is allowed to talk with other members, and you wrote that lovely rule yourself. Mr. Royce took her money, since saying no to money was not something he knew how to do. Within a week, the gym had gained 30 new members who all happened to be former coaches, trainers, and athletes. Another rule was born. No member may instruct another member. If I catch one person coaching another, both of you are banned for good. The very next day, Lena stood beside me and never told me to do a thing. She did her own set out loud instead, describing every move to herself while I quietly copied her. I am doing a hip hinge right now. My back stays flat. I push the whole floor away from me. Lena, you are clearly coaching her. I am narrating my own workout. A grown woman is allowed to talk about her own life. If she happens to copy me, that is her free choice. Mr. Royce stomped off and returned with yet another sign. This one declared that no member could describe a workout out loud on the floor. Tessa read it and pulled a small notebook from her bag, so he banned written plans as well. Omar's friend stopped writing anything at all. He simply performed each exercise perfectly, while Omar stood behind him and copied his body shape for shape. Omar, the man is showing you exactly what to do. He is doing his own workout. I am doing mine. We just happen to stand close and happen to move the same way. Is standing near a friend a crime now? Mr. Royce could not find any rule that made standing illegal. He marched into the center of the floor and shouted a brand new rule. No two members may exercise within 10 feet of each other, he yelled, and the whole room went quiet like someone had hit a mute button. If I catch any two members closer than 10 feet apart, both of your memberships are done. Gone. No refunds. Nobody moved. Then Mr. Royce waved at his staff and they started dragging every bench, every rack, every machine apart from each other. And I am not making this up. He pulled an actual tape measure out of his pocket, a bright yellow one, the kind you buy at a hardware store. He got down on one knee between two flat benches and stretched that tape across the floor, making sure it hit 10 feet. He did this between every single piece of equipment. It took him almost an hour. Members just stood around watching him crawl between machines like a man measuring a crime scene. I stood there looking around, and for the first time in this whole stupid war, I actually felt like he might have won, because the whole point of everything we had done was being close enough to watch, to listen, to copy. You cannot copy someone you cannot even see across a room full of scattered equipment. Then my phone buzzed. Lena had sent one message. He said 10 feet. He did not say anything about phones. I read it 3 times and started laughing so hard my dog jumped off the couch. The next morning, I set up at a bench on the far right side of the floor. Lena walked in about 5 minutes later and set up on the complete opposite end. We were a good 30 feet from each other, maybe more. Lena started her workout and propped her phone against a water bottle on the floor. She filmed herself doing a full set of squats, nice and slow, talking through her form in a quiet voice that only the phone mic would catch. Then she stopped, picked up her phone, and texted me the video. My phone buzzed in my hand. I opened the message, watched the whole clip right there on my little screen, and then I set up my bar and copied every single thing she did. We went back and forth like this for an entire hour and never once came within 30 feet of each other. Mr. Royce stood near the front desk watching us the whole time. I could see him gripping the edge of the counter so hard his knuckles were white. He finally cracked and came storming over to me with his headset bouncing on his neck. You are watching coaching videos on your phone, he said, pointing at my screen like it was evidence. I looked up at him and kept my voice as sweet as I could manage. I am watching a text message from my best friend. Are you banning text messages now? Because I do not think the phone company will like that. His mouth opened and closed a couple of times. He made this little noise in his throat, turned around, and walked back to the desk. Omar took it even further that same day. His buddy, the former physical therapist, sat up at the squat rack on the far end. He just did every exercise in the slowest, most exaggerated way you have ever seen. A deadlift that took a full 15 seconds from bottom to top. He held every position like he was posing for a sculpture. Omar stood on the opposite side of the gym and just watched and copied every move like a mirror image. Tessa's friend went a different direction. She grabbed a marker from her bag, rolled up her sleeve, and wrote an entire workout right on her own arm. Sets, reps, rest times, all of it. Then she just walked over to the water fountain area near where Tessa was stretching, stood about 12 feet away, and flexed her arms, turning her forearms so the writing faced Tessa's direction. Tessa read the whole program off this woman's arm from across the room and went and did every single exercise. The gym turned into the funniest thing I have ever seen. People were doing slow motion exercises, flexing body parts with writing on them, texting each other videos from opposite corners. It looked like a silent comedy show. A couple of guys on the treadmills were pointing and cracking up. A woman on the elliptical had to stop because she was laughing too hard to keep pedaling. Mr. Royce stood in the middle of the floor, turning in slow circles, watching his gym laugh at him, and I could see the exact moment he realized that every single person in that building thought he was a joke. So he did what he always did. He made another rule. But this time, time, he went full nuclear. The next morning when I walked in, there was a row of small wooden cubbies bolted to the wall right next to the front door. A brand new sign above them read that all personal phones were now banned from the gym floor. Every member had to put their phone in a cubby before stepping past the front desk. No exceptions. I put my phone in the little wooden slot and walked past him without a word, but not everyone did. I need my phone for work. My kids call me during the day. You want me to miss an emergency so you can sell training sessions? Cancel my membership. He said it loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. A woman behind him did the same thing. By the end of that first day, I watched at least 5 longtime members walk out for good. Mr. Royce did not flinch. He was not trying to save his gym anymore. He was trying to beat Lena, and he did not care how many paying members he burned through to do it. The very next morning, Lena walked into the gym wearing a plain black t-shirt I had never seen before. It looked totally normal from the front, but when she turned around to head toward the squat rack, I noticed something on the back. It looked like one of those little brand logos you see on workout clothes, except this was not a brand. Lena had made this shirt at home. She had printed, in the smallest, neatest font you could imagine, an entire squat program right there on the back of her shirt. Sets, reps, rest times, cues for form, all of it. When she turned around, I could not keep a straight face. "Nice shirt," I said. Lena grinned so wide I thought her face would split. "Thanks. I designed it myself," she said, and then she walked off to start her warm-up like nothing had happened. Mr. Royce was standing near the front desk watching us, and I know he saw me standing behind her, but what was he going to do? Ban t-shirts? He had already banned talking, writing, phones, and standing too close. He was running out of things in the world to make illegal, and that is when the mood in the gym really started to change. Regular members, people who had never been part of any of this, started doing small things to show whose side they were on. When Lena walked through the front door in the morning, people clapped, just a few quiet claps from whoever happened to be nearby. It drove Mr. Royce crazy. He could not ban clapping. He could not ban smiling. One afternoon, I came back from the locker room and noticed a bright yellow sticky note on Mr. Royce's office door. Someone had written 2 words on it in big block letters: "Ban this." I do not know who put it there. Mr. Royce found it about 10 minutes later. He peeled it off without saying a single word, crumpled it into a ball, and tossed it in the trash. He did not look angry exactly. He looked tired. After our session that day, I caught up with Lena in the parking lot. "He is running out of ideas," I told her. "He banned talking, writing, phones, standing near each other, and we beat every single one. We basically won, Lena." Lena stopped walking. She just stood there for a second looking at me with this expression that was careful. "Do not celebrate yet," she said. "Men like him do not stop when they are losing. They call someone bigger." I figured she was being cautious. I told myself she was overthinking it. She was not overthinking it. The following Monday, I walked into the gym and something felt wrong before I even got to the front desk. Mr. Royce was not there. He was always there. But today the desk was empty. Well, not empty. There was a woman sitting behind it that I had never seen before in my life. She was maybe 50, wearing a dark blazer with a clipboard and the kind of posture that said she was not here to make friends. "Good morning," she said. "I am the regional director for the parent company that owns this gym. Mr. Royce contacted me personally to address the situation here, and I will be on site for the foreseeable future." My whole body went cold. Lena was right. He called someone bigger. The woman stood up and came around the desk. She said that Mr. Royce had filed a formal report describing what he called a coordinated campaign of member harassment against staff. She said she had been asked to come in, observe daily operations, and decide whether membership cancellations were the right course of action. I could not speak. I just nodded. And then I saw him. Mr. Royce stepped out of the hallway behind the front desk, and he was standing right behind the regional director with his arms folded across his chest. He had the smuggest expression I have ever seen on a grown man. He looked like a kid who had just told the teacher on the whole class and was waiting to watch everyone get punished. When I finished, I grabbed my bag and walked straight out to the parking lot, and I stood by my car waiting for Lena. "He called corporate on us, Lena. They could cancel all of our memberships. 30 people could lose their gym because of what we started." My voice was shaking. Lena put her bag down on the trunk of her car and looked at me the same way she looked at her athletes when they got in their own heads before a big lift. Calm, steady. "We did not start anything," she said. "He started it when he decided that friends helping friends was a crime. All we did was exist." I opened my mouth to argue, but she held up one hand. "He called his own boss and told her that his gym is falling apart. That is not a power move. That is a confession." Lena leaned against her car. "Here is what we are going to do. This week, nobody does anything clever. Nobody does anything funny. No copying, no shirt programs, no writing on arms. We all just walk in, do our workouts like normal boring people, follow every posted rule to the letter, and go home." I stared at her. "You want us to just do nothing?" "I want us to let her see who the real problem is," Lena said. "Right now she has a report from Mr. Royce that says we are troublemakers. She has never met us, so we show her. If she watches us for a week and we are calm and quiet, and she watches him for a week pacing around pointing at people, who do you think she is going to believe?" I agreed, and that night I called Omar and Tessa and told them the plan. By the next morning, the word had spread. Be normal, be boring, follow every rule. She was there every day, all day. She walked the floor with her clipboard, watching how people trained. She just observed. She did not ask me a single question those first 3 days, and I noticed something. Mr. Royce could not handle the peace. Every time I looked up, he was somewhere near the regional director, hovering at her shoulder, and he was always talking. He would point across the room at one of us, lean in close, and whisper something. I watched him do this at least a dozen times. He pointed at Lena. He pointed at Omar. He pointed at me. Each time the director would nod politely and keep walking. She never pulled anyone aside. The man who would not stop whispering. By the 3rd day, he was following her around the gym like a shadow. On the 4th day, Mr. Royce finally lost it. I was on the leg press machine, and I had a clear view of the squat rack across the room where Omar's buddy was doing his workout. He was just squatting. Normal weight, normal speed, good form, not talking to anyone. Mr. Royce walked up to him mid-set. He waited for Omar's buddy to rack the bar and then stepped right into his space, close enough that it was clearly on purpose. "You are using this equipment with incorrect form," Mr. Royce said, loud enough that people on the nearby machines looked over. "I would recommend you sign up for a session with one of our staff trainers before you hurt yourself." Omar's buddy wiped his forehead with his towel and looked at Mr. Royce the way you look at someone who just told you the sky is green. "I am a former physical therapist," he said. "I think I know how to squat." Something in Mr. Royce's face changed. He took took a half step closer and raised his voice so that it carried across half the gym floor. You are not a physical therapist in here. In here, you are a paying member and you follow my rules. If I say your form is wrong, your form is wrong, and you either pay for a trainer or you find another gym. Omar's buddy did not say a word. He just stood there holding his towel, completely calm, while Mr. Royce's voice bounced off the walls. And the regional director was standing about 12 feet away near the cable machines. She was not nodding politely this time. She was watching Mr. Royce the way you watch something you need to remember later. When he finished talking and Omar's buddy quietly went back to his set without responding, the director looked down at her clipboard and wrote something. She wrote for a solid 10 seconds. Mr. Royce must have noticed because he glanced over at her, and for just a second his face went blank, like he realized someone had been watching. He walked back toward the front desk without saying anything else, and he did not approach another member for the rest of the day. That evening I was heading to the locker room when I saw the regional director standing alone in the hallway near the back entrance. She was looking at her phone, and for once Mr. Royce was not hovering beside her. I almost walked past, but something made me stop. I did not raise my voice. I did not complain. I just said one thing. Before Mr. Royce got here, this gym had almost no turnover. You can check the membership records. Since he started, you have lost more members than you have gained, and the only new ones who joined did it to be near friends he was trying to keep apart. The director looked up from her phone. She just looked at me for a long moment. Then she said 5 words that made my heart beat so fast I could feel it in my fingertips. I have already pulled the numbers. She did not say anything else. She put her phone in her pocket and walked past me toward the main floor. I stood in that hallway for a good 30 seconds after she left, just breathing. She already knew. Friday came and I walked into the gym to find a handwritten sign taped to the front desk that said there would be a meeting in the group fitness room at 6 o'clock. By the time 6 rolled around, that room was packed. People were standing along the walls and sitting on the floor because there were not enough chairs. And the regional director stood at the front of the room with her clipboard in her hand and her blazer buttoned up. And right beside her, still wearing his headset, still standing with his chest puffed out like he owned the whole building, was Mr. Royce. He looked confident. He was holding a printed piece of paper in his right hand, and I was close enough to the front that I could see it was a list of names. My name was right there near the top in bold black ink. My chest got tight, but I made myself breathe, and I looked over at Lena standing next to me, and she gave me the smallest nod like she was saying just wait. The director spoke first. I want to thank all of you for your patience this week, she said. Then her voice changed. It got slower and more serious, and the room went so silent I could hear the air conditioning humming through the vents. I have reviewed every complaint Mr. Royce filed over the past 2 months. I've reviewed the membership records. I have reviewed the revenue reports, and I have spent this week watching how this gym actually operates. She paused and looked down at her clipboard. In the last 60 days, this location has lost 41 long-term members. It has also gained 30 new members, all of whom joined at full price and have paid on time. The net revenue from Mr. Royce's training program, after expenses, was $11. A couple of people in the back laughed out loud, then a few more. Mr. Royce's face went from confident to red so fast it was like watching a traffic light change. That is not accurate, he said, and his voice cracked just a little on the last word. The director held up her hand without even looking at him. $11, Mr. Royce, in 2 months. Meanwhile, the new memberships these people brought in generated over $3,000 in monthly dues. She turned and gestured toward Lena and our whole group standing along the side wall. Mr. Royce tried to recover. He held up his printed list and shook it so the paper made a snapping sound. These members have been deliberately undermining my authority. They have broken every rule I have put in place. The director reached over and took the list right out of his hand. She read it quietly for a moment, and then she started reading some of the rules back to him out loud. No 2 members may stand within 10 feet of each other. No member may describe their own workout out loud. No member may hand another member a piece of paper. She looked up from the list and stared at him. Mr. Royce, do you hear how these sound? He snatched the paper back so fast it almost tore. I was trying to protect this business, he said, and his voice was loud now, almost a shout. The director did not raise her voice at all. She just looked at him and said, you were trying to force people to buy something they did not want by making friendship a violation. That is not a business strategy. That is a hostage situation. The room erupted. People clapped. Someone near the back whistled so loud it bounced off the mirrors. I felt Lena's hand land on my shoulder and squeeze, and I reached up and grabbed her fingers and held on. The director waited for the noise to die down, and then announced that Mr. Royce was being reassigned effective immediately. All of his posted rules were void as of right now. Members were welcome to train with anyone they chose, member or guest, at no additional charge. Mr. Royce stood there for a long moment. Then he reached up and pulled his headset off his head for the first time anyone in that gym could ever remember seeing. He set it down on the desk beside him, turned, and walked out of the room without saying goodbye to a single person. The next morning, I walked into the gym, and there were no signs on the mirrors, no tape measure marks on the floor, no 10-foot rules. Lena and I sat up right next to each other at the squat rack and worked through our whole session side by side, talking through every set like we used to before any of this started. Across the room, Omar's buddy spotted him on bench press and called out form corrections at full volume just because he could. Tessa's friend walked over and handed her a brand new written program on actual paper, and Tessa held it up over her head for the whole gym to see like she had just won a prize. Lena racked her bar and sat down on the bench beside me and wiped her face with the towel without a single word.